Hi, a very warm welcome to my channel. I am Shanti, and in this video we're going to be talking a lot about creating. So when I first started out with this video, I actually want to talk about just this book, The Art of Creating. But as I kept talking, I felt like this is such a big thing and there are so many points that I want to talk about. And then I thought, okay, let's just not confine this video to this one book only. Even though I talk about this, but it's not just about this one book, okay? So I think I will start off with my creative journey. And when I say creative journey, it might feel like I'm talking about something artistic, which is not, right? So I am not a conventional artist in any manner. I'm not someone who draws or anything. I do write, but I will not really brand my writing as something artistic. So how then am I connected with this creating stuff, right? So I think as a person with a science background, creativity was never something that I experienced, or at least I did not feel like I was using my creativity in any way. Of course, there were questions or there were topics, which are supposed to make you think out of your box and creative thinking and higher order thinking or such. But I never felt that those questions or those kind of activities, they didn't really challenge my creativity, I think, because I never felt like they challenged me. I think when I started off with trying to establish my coaching business, that was the first time I felt like creativity in me was being called in some way. Because when I was trying to market stuff, I was thinking about, should I be doing it this way? Should I be doing it that way? Maybe this will, convey things better, or this will deliver things better. And that was how I started off with content creation. And that was the kind of activity which really felt like I was using my creative energy. And after that, of course, I really loved that process of creating, and that was the beginning of considering that I am creator in any way, because I'm not a conventional creator, right? So there were a lot of learnings from that journey, and this book, The Art of Creating, sort of felt like all of those learnings that I had, all of those vague learnings that I had, they are now in this book, documented, well documented. So these are all some things that I've felt at one or other point in my creating journey. But yeah, when you read it, it gives you a different kind of effect. And it reminds you of, yes, this is right. And that's why you do this. And that's why, you continue it. So that has been my journey with the book. And for people who are not into creating in any way, I feel like they should still read the book, because it gives them an idea of what they can get by creating. And for people who are creating already, anyways, I feel like it's a must read for them. But for non-creators, I feel like this is a book that could get you started, but you may not relate to it that much, because I feel like the book is a little deep for a non-creator to understand. But it's a good starting off point. So I am gonna read out a few points which I feel will probably get you into creating. So the reward for our work is not what we get, but who we become, right? So this is a quote by Paulo Coelho. I'm not sure about, my pronunciations are very bad, okay? So this is The Alchemist's author. So this is the quote by that author. So when you create, it's not about what you get, what masterpiece you're getting, but it's more about, in the process of creating, who we become. That's the beauty of creating something. And So I'm not gonna read all of them because that is just gonna make this video very long and very boring. So I'm just gonna read topics which I feel can get a non-creator into creating. What exercise is to the body, creativity is to the soul. So this is the best point. Creating is healing. This is the reason why I encourage more and more people around me, at least, to keep creating. It is really healing. It allows other people who witness your art to feel seen and heard, because many of them are feeling the same emotions. And this sort of helps create this collective healing. The purpose of art is not to make good art. The purpose of creating art is to express yourself and your own truth in the present moment. When you create what is true to you, you will attract those who believe what you do. So this is once again proof that when you start creating and when you start attracting similar kind of energy, that is when you can build a community that really matters to you, which is a safe space to you. As a creator, we usually feel distraught when we don't create anything. We feel alive when creating. So all of these excerpts might make you think that this book is just a collection of inspiring quotes on creating. That is not at all the case. In fact, it is a very well written, clearly written instruction manual of sorts into your creating journey. So he talks about what is creating and the role of emotion in creating, and finding your creative spirit, sort of finding your creative medium, and then what are the kind of things that may come up in this journey and how do you address these problems. And he also talks about sharing your work online and the concept of making money online through your art, right? And so he also talks about the mindset, the attitude that is required for you to be able to be on this journey of creating. So that is the creative process, right? So there's just so much that this book has to offer, especially for creators, but also for people who are looking to get into creating. I want to focus on this one excerpt, which is the topic that I want to be talking about. Art is everyone's birthright. So I'm going to repeat that here. The purpose of art is not to make good art. The purpose of creating art is to express yourself and your own truth in the present moment, right? So a lot of times growing up, I have heard a lot of comments about, let's say someone is singing and you hear comments about, oh my God, don't sing, please don't sing. It is meant in a sort of fun way, but these are the small things which define behaviors. Let's say you're someone who is not a very good singer, or let's say you are not a very good artist, painter, but at that moment of time, let's say a song just came to your mind, or you just felt like just scribbling something, just drawing something absent-mindedly. These kind of comments can really have an effect on that. Oh my God, I shouldn't sing or I shouldn't draw because they're not good enough. So we don't do that. So it's a kind of process in which certain behaviors are, without even realizing it, certain behaviors are cut off from us. It becomes a habit that no, we shouldn't do that. If we're not good at something, we shouldn't do that, we shouldn't do this. And the same goes with something as normal as speaking. Let's say you're not someone who can speak or articulate very well. Then you hear comments about things, about how your speech is or how your talking is, and you start not talking. So this can have such a wide ranging effects, and that is how our expression, the ways in which, the variety of ways in which we want to express, they are cut off from us. And that is how we sort of become these beings who are just sitting there, dumb, looking dumb, but not actually dumb. There's a lot of things that are going on in our head, in our heart, but we don't have the guts, nor do we have the energy to express them. But if you think about it, art is something that everyone has to do, because the way we express is not just through words or not just through writing. It can be through images, it can be through movement, dance, or it can be through music. It can be in a lot of ways. And when we stop ourselves from expressing, expression sort of leaves us, and a lot of things just pile up inside us, and that makes us very heavy beings. And that's not something that we want, right? So in India, we have this thing that, only if you are such a great artist, or if you're singing so well, only then you are allowed, or you will be encouraged to go to the center of the stage or the center of the gathering and show off your skills. But if you're not, let's say, too good at something, then you're not encouraged, or it is talked about like, why are you even going? You're not good at it. Why do you even go? It shouldn't be like that. We all should create, and we all should express in whatever way we feel like, at whatever time we feel like. And this is how I feel art is everyone's birthright. So that is all about this book and about the topic. I honestly thought the topic is gonna be longer. I felt like there was so much to say, but I think there's only just one point here. I just wanted to express that you have to create in whatever way, whatever the comments that you are getting from people around you, you need to create. And that is one way of, the only way of liberating yourself, your mind, the presence of your own making. So this is all about this video, this book. See you in the next video.